Maisha ni ya ghetto, msaliti ni petro, sharia muna kwao, wazimu pia na hao, furaha sio mfano, ukabila ndio kwao, hapo nishafika, ukweli na hakika, kadiri ninashika, furaha kwa lahiki, kwenda kwa mashabiki, baji kuziki, bifu na fiki.
Teacher's name is always mentioned, Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Ben and so many others, and this is wonderful. They are wonderful historians and teachers, Dr. Amos Wilson, and the list goes on and on. But there can be no teacher, no greater than my teacher. Who is your teacher? Your teacher Elijah Muhammad? No, I am not a Muslim. I don't advocate. I don't, I'm not part of the Nation of Islam. I am a former member of that organization under the guidance of Minister Louis Farrakhan at one time, years ago, when I was a younger person in my late teens. But I have grown a lot since then. I'm not a teenager no more. Milk don't satisfy me anymore. I need something solid to put on my stomach. And those things just don't do anything for me. And it shouldn't do anything for you, because that which is childlike cannot free or liberate a people. Only an adult mind, only a grown person can liberate a people. I've never known somebody with a childlike mentality that ever made a people free. So I turn to my teacher. Who is your teacher? My teacher is nature itself. By studying the life around me, by studying the natural world. When you study or you have become infatuated with the words of men, then you become limited, especially when those men don't understand nature. They don't understand the essence of life. Your best teacher is the bee, the cow, the deer, the air itself, the water, the trees. These are the master teachers. What is black conscious? Well, simply, let's focus on the word conscious. I'm going to use this as a quick example. Somebody hits you upside the head with a brick and you fall to the floor. You at that moment in time are called unconscious. What does it mean to be unconscious? When somebody is unconscious, they are almost at the point where they look like they are dead. There is no response from this supposed to be living person. All functions almost cease to show any type of activity. They are unconscious. Now, when we talk about consciousness comes in gradual steps. Sometimes you can be knocked out unconscious and come straight up out of it to consciousness. Like, woo, what happened, man? I was out of it for a while. But most times, it's according how serious the injury is or was. We come up out of unconsciousness gradually, very slowly. So this person, they need help getting up. They're groggy. They can't walk. They're out of balance. But they are conscious. They can hear you. They can't hear well. They can't see well. They don't walk well. They're not functioning properly. They need some type of help. So when you talk about black conscious, you have a teaching that is supposed to help you begin to come up out of your unconscious state by helping you, getting you up, making you able to see, able to hear, able to help you walk. And to a certain point, this, what we call black conscious teaching, it has done that. But it has not gone beyond that. If you look at the so-called mentality, the mindset of the black conscious mentality, you see them, they are still groggy. They see but they don't see. They hear but they don't hear. They're not walking properly. Easy to topple over. And so in recent events, this is what you see. Conscious does not transform. It does not transform you to a functioning, normal human being. In this case, you are supposed to be transforming yourself, coming from up out of unconsciousness. What is unconsciousness? Your unconscious state is that form, that state of being that your oppressors made you into. And they made what? They made you into what? A nigger. That's what it's called. Or if you prefer, you can say black. Or if you prefer, you can say Negro. If you prefer, you can say colored. And also, the racists have given their approval on what we call African American. Choose A, B, C, D, or E, however you want to do it. Black conscious is supposed to transform you from those things and make you into a new being. So it says in your religious teachings, behold, when the God comes, I make all things new. You are no longer a slave. You are no longer colored. You are no longer this and that. What your enemy made you, I make you brand new. You're not a Muslim. You're not a Hebrew. You're not none of the things of the old. I make you new, and the former things shall pass away. But instead of trying to become something new, you're trying to go backwards to places where you've never been, trying to be somebody you never was, instead of becoming something brand new. Because you're conscious, but you're not fully conscious. In order to be fully conscious, your mind has to be 1000% liberated. And it is not. It is not because you're black conscious. So conscious is the noun, and black is the adjective that describes the noun. So you have black conscious. And this word black makes reference or brings us back to racial supremacy, where black was considered inferior. We're going to take black and make it positive and put it in the superior position where it once was inferior. So I'm black conscious. So I can still be a nigger because I'm still holding on to the black. Matter of fact, many of you call yourself black and nigger. Same thing. Because all of this generates, all of it come from up out of pink supremacy, white racism, however you want to call it. That's where it all come from. That's its origins. So you're trapped in skin color, and being trapped in racial supremacy in the skin color thing makes you still groggy, makes you still unconscious. Well, you're conscious, but you're not there. And then because you think that you're awake, because you have people who have been knocked out and they said, let me go, I got it. And then because they think they are conscious, and that's where you find your black conscious community right now. Let me go, I got this, I'm awake. You are awake to do what? You are awake to seek information. That's why you exist. You are awake to seek information to do what? What is the benefits of this information? They are always chasing information. Chasing information from people who act like niggas, fighting over money, exploiting women, scamming victims of racial supremacy. But yet and still they are conscious. This information that you seek is supposed to lead to your liberation, but it's not. It has turned into the glorification or some type of form of a church. And the brain has been locked down, incarcerated in a different way. At first, you were bombarded and incarcerated. Your mind was incarcerated by your oppressor. Now you've broken free of that because you're coming from out of unconsciousness to consciousness. But now you stay in that same genre of racial whatever racial lockdown. You taking it, and now you have voluntarily incarcerated yourself. And your brain is locked down, and you have become loyal to that which incarcerated you to begin with. And you think that this is going to somehow free you, cause you to escape your confinement. And thousands of you with this mentality, you have done nothing. You cannot progress. You cannot do nothing except do what you have been doing for the last some years, and that's be black power, whatever, Negroes, and a black power coon, a black power Sambo, a black power, all these things, Uncle Tom, that you call other folks. That's what you are. That's why you can't do no better than Jesse Lee Peterson, or what's his name, that Elders guy, and all these other suckers, Tommy Sotomayor. That's why you can't do no better than they are. If you were able to do better than them, then your actions, because now you are conscious, your conscious mind produce the actions of a person who is truly conscious, but you're just as unconscious as these people you talk about, just in a different type of manner. You're trapped. You voluntarily trap yourself in this racial supremacy thing, the same thing that locked you up and caused you to be in the condition that you're in to begin with. And you're not obtaining, you want information and you want knowledge, but clearly it is not the correct information. It is not the appropriate knowledge in order to get the job done. And you're going nowhere. So you have profiteers who exploit you because that's what you want, and you want an easy way out. I just want to read a book. That's all you want to do. Listen to a DVD and all these other different things. That's all you basically want to do. And so they give you these things. But in order to liberate a people, in order to liberate yourself, the mind has to be liberated. That means you have to throw away all those things that you think you know, so that your brain can begin to give you the answers in order to solve your problem. I say that we are not serious about our liberation. We are not serious about these things. Using myself as an example. Many of you know, and I have told the story many, many times on many occasions, and many persons have tried to use my incarceration against me to try to expose me as, I don't know what they're trying to expose me for, because people, innocent people, go to jail and prison and places every day. I don't know what they are trying to expose. But when I was incarcerated, just like you, I said that I want out of here. I no longer want to be here. I don't want to be incarcerated. I want to be free. I want to be liberated from these wicked people that have unjustly confined me. I want out of here. And anybody that knew me or knows me who was related to that situation, they would tell you that I was dead serious. And death, now listen to me, death would have been the last option. And I did put death on the table. I did. Now, there were those who wanted me to calm down, smile more, be content in my incarceration like many of you are. I refuse. There were many of those who did not like me because the only thing on my mind 24 hours a day, I did not care about sports. I did not care about some woman wearing some booty shorts. I did not care nothing about playing the game of spades and all these different things. The only thing that was on my mind that I was obsessed with, see, it has to become an obsession. The only thing I was obsessed with was my freedom. I don't want to talk about sports. I don't want to talk about the weather. I don't want to talk about the latest fashion. I want out of here. I don't see that in the so-called black conscious community. The only thing you hear is who's going to debate so-and-so next. I want to get this information. I became obsessed with information. But it had to be the correct and the appropriate information so that it could aid me in what I wanted to do. You are obsessed with information that is doing nothing for you at all. Nothing. I don't see it. The only thing I can see that it's doing is making you comfortable in your incarceration. And the reason why you really don't have that obsession with seeking freedom is because you never have been free. When I was locked up, I know what freedom was, and I wanted to get that back. But see, we as a people, we have never been free. Unlike Kuta Kinte of the story Roots. The reason why Kuta Kinte was obsessed with his freedom and wanting to run away and all this was because he knew what life was prior to being turned into a slave. But you and me, these who were born with dark skin, born in America, descendant of slaves, slavery is all you know. So you don't have that fire that you need in order to go over that last obstacle so that you can become truly a free and liberated people, not because you talk it, but because that's what you are. That's what you become. I was just watching a movie called The Magnificent Seven. Some of you may have seen the old version of The Magnificent Seven. It's a Western. They have an up-to-date version of The Magnificent Seven with our brother Denzel Washington, a wonderful actor. But this town of Caucasian people was terrorized by this rich Caucasian male. He wanted their land because there was a lot of gold and, you know, riches on the land, and he wanted them out because this dude was extremely greedy. He wanted everything. And he was killing these homesteaders, trying to drive them off their land. And it got to the point where these homesteaders had to find something. Something had to change. They worked too hard to develop and get this land to allow this greedy fella to drive them off. So eventually they hired Denzel Washington, and Denzel Washington befriended or hired 6 more people to help him help the homesteaders deal with this greedy fella. Now, of course, Denzel Washington and his 6 comrades, excellent gunfighters. They could handle weapons and all this, very brave men or whatever. And they told the homesteaders, it's only so much we can do. It's only 7 of us. You have to understand, if you want your freedom, if you want to be free from this vicious guy, and this fella was extremely vicious, wicked devil for real. Denzel Washington went to them and made them to understand, here is your help. We are here to help you, but you have to help yourself. So one of the lessons we learn from this right now is that we need to seek aid as a people. We need to seek aid. We need to seek some kind of help outside of ourselves to deal with this vicious enemy. But above all, we need to help ourselves. We need to put a gun in our hand. We need to do just like what Malcolm X said, do what is necessary in order to gain your freedom and liberty. Many of you want an easy way out. There is no easy way out. Nobody wants to die. But you have to put in your mind, I would rather, listen, you have to put in your mind, this is what I want. And I would rather be dead. That is the thinking process I had when I was locked up. And if I'm going to die, I'm taking some of these suckers with me. I already had planned, although I had no weapons, I already had plans of how I'm going to take some of these suckers out with me. You have to be obsessed like that. You are not going to be respected as a black man. You are not going to be respected as a black man until you show these suckers you mean business. You are not behaving and acting like men. That's why you're not getting the respect from your women and your children. In this movie, the woman and the children had great respect for the men because the men stood up to the challenge. They were scared. Now listen to me. They were scared. I'm not a soldier. Matter of fact, I'm scared of guns. But they stood up and they put the guns in their hands and they trained. Learned how to use knives. They did what they knew they had to do. Because I'm doing this not only for myself, my present family, but for the generations who are going to follow my footsteps, who's going to live upon the land that I secured for them. Because it's mine, not this rich bastard. So they trained. They learn how to use guns and dynamite and whatever. They learn how to use different tactics against this vicious enemy. And so the day came when this vicious, rich devil decided, I'm going to put these people in their place. I'm sick of dealing with them. I'm going to just get rid of them. Them and their magnificent seven. So the war broke out. And when all the dust settles, out of the seven, 4 of these men died. And they did not die for themselves. They did not really even die for the money they was getting paid. They was dying because of the purpose and the reason to help people who could not help themselves. There are those out there, whether you know it or not. There are nations, there are people out there. When you show them that you are ready to fight for yourself, they will be happy to pick up a weapon. They will be happy to give you money and finance you and help you do what you need to do. During the time of Malcolm X, Malcolm X was meeting with many African leaders. And not only the leaders, but true revolutionaries. And the revolutionaries told Malcolm, if you can get your people to want to rebel, revolt against their enemy, we will help you. The problem was the Negroes scared. Even those around Brother Malcolm, they scared. Malcolm, has got to be a better way. But Malcolm knew in his studies, there has been no people, there has not been no revolution where you don't have violence, because the people you're dealing with are violent. Now, this is a true fact. You know how violent that this government has been towards dark-skinned people? Oh man, so you're not serious. So the only thing, instead of bullets and dynamite and nitroglycerin and training yourself for the inevitable, you fill your houses with books and DVDs and the red and the black and the green tennis shoes. It's all a joke. It's all a joke. Red, the black and the green tennis shoes and shirts and caps. And you still a slave. You wear red, the black, and the green, and you still a slave. You are not worthy to wear those colors. You have done nothing to be worthy. And the people who are worthy or were worthy to wear those colors, most of them probably are long gone now. And the founder, Marcus Garvey himself, we know that he has passed this life. You don't deserve the red, the black, and the green. Period. You're not serious. What? Is this camera still on? Wow. I did not know this camera was still on. Man, I was just dusting my computer off. Trying to clean up a little bit. And, well, since the computer is on, and it looks like the red dot is on. The red dot is rolling. Guess what? I might as well make a video. Welcome to the Reality's Temple on Earth. I am your host, Angel Snub 7, and I'm just going to have to improvise. This thing is on. I did not know. Well, actually, I did know it was on. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. But I was dusting the computer off a little bit. But I was just thinking. I had a conversation with a person who clearly loves them some Tommy Sotomayor, however you want to pronounce it. And that's cool. If you want to support somebody like Tommy Sotomayor, Oscar Mario, what's it? If you want to do that, it's all well and good. They left a comment on one of my videos. I believe that I was talking about black men who hate black women or have this disdain for black women or something to that effect. I don't really think I was talking about Tommy Sotomayor, but because I wanted views, I put Tommy Sotomayor's name in it. And I'm not going to be ashamed about it. Yes, I will use Tommy Sotomayor's name to get views. I will use President Obama. I will use Michael Jackson. Yes, I use your name or whatever to get views. Now that's over with. We got that over. Okay, cool. Do we understand each other? If you can get me some views, I will use your name too. So what? Big deal. There are many people who have used my name to get views. So what? Who cares? That's the purpose of YouTube. To get views. To get listened to get heard. So what? Big deal. Now that that's over with, this is the mind-boggling thing about me. This is what gets me about some of these persons. They told me, and they tell me all the time, the black woman must be held accountable for her actions, her ratchet behavior, and so forth and so forth. Well, my question is, who's going to hold you accountable for your ratchet behaviors, for your act, the way that you act and the way that you behave? And these people have a lot of nerve, especially somebody like Tommy Sotomayor. You have a lot of nerve to talk about somebody else's behavior. Who acts worse than Tommy Sotomayor? I've never heard such ratchetness, vulgar, nasty, profane, hate-filled speech coming from nobody like Tommy Sotomayor. Who could be worse than this man? Who could be more ratchet than this man? And who are you? Who are you to judge anybody about their behavior? Now, if you was this fella, there he is. Now, if Tommy Sotomayor was this fella, and he came to the public and said, now clearly he's a priest or something like that, whatever. He has the holy book in his hand and he's supposed to represent some type of morality. So now if this man came on YouTube and began to talk about somebody's behavior and let's stop being thugs and stop drinking and smoking or whatever. Now coming from him, even though we know that the church is fake, a bunch of backsliders, a bunch of weak-minded type of people, but we understand that the church, we understand that many of these religions is supposed to represent some kind of moral behavior, whatever that might be. Now, for me, moral behavior is any type of behavior that is beneficial to you. Any type of behaviors or actions that is detrimental to you, that's immoral. Not only to you, but it affects others around you. So if this fella, who's supposed to represent some type of morality, comes to us and tell us we need to be held accountable for our ratchet activity and actions, you would probably be more open to take it from a fella like this, who is coming from that type of background, who he himself is supposed to be practicing some type of, or living under some kind of moral code. Yes or no? Yes. Of course. On the other hand, you have people like this. Now, I know it. I know you giving me the finger. Okay, it's cool, dude. All right. Yeah. You have people like this who are saying the same thing, but they follow no type of moral code. Tommy Sotomayor is a drunk. Tommy Sotomayor cusses like a sailor. He's disrespectful. He's vulgar. He's nasty. He talks nasty. He talks dirty and filthy. But have the nerve to come on YouTube, come on social media, and tell other people you have ratchet behavior. Now, look at that incident that he just recently had with Tariq Nasheed. Now, instead of saying, look, sir, I don't know why you're here. I will accept your Coon Award. You know, sit it right here. I'm here for an interview. I'm not interested in making no trouble with you or whatever. You know, he engaged in calling Tariq Nasheed, look, nigga, this and nigga that, and blah, blah, blah. Just as ratchet as anybody that he talks about. But he wasn't going to get too ratchet because Tariq might have punched him in the face. And you could see that Tommy didn't want that type of confrontation. So he said nigga because that's what he is, a nigga. And that's what he's used to. He's used to the ratchet life. He used to being immoral, a drunk who knows what kind of drugs this man does. But yet and still, you want to judge people and tell people about their morality, what they shouldn't, how they should behave. Who are you to tell anybody how they should behave? And as a man, no black man on this planet is in a position to tell a black woman nothing. Yeah, I'll show my face and say it again. There is no black man on this planet. Well, let's just deal with the African Americans. Let's just deal with the black people, the so-called black people in America. There is no black, dark-skinned, African Americanist, Kemetic, Hebrew Israelite, whatever you want to call yourself. There is no black man in this country in a position to tell women, black women, what to do, how to think, and what to say, how to act. And the reason why you're not in a position to do that is because you don't have a pot to piss in. You don't have nothing. You have not earned the right to tell nobody or suggest or advise anybody to do anything because you have not even gotten yourself together. You're drunk. You're a dope addict. A lot of you have criminal records because you are criminals. Not because you're innocent, because you are criminals. The black man is in a worse condition than any black woman. You emotional. Look at what has just recently happened in the so-called conscious community. Look at Sanetta. Sanetta acting just like an emotional woman over there. Look, the guys, the brothers or whatever, they did not want to do it. They breached the contract. Okay, so what? Let it go. You're 50-some years old. You're just going to have to accept your losses. Running around here calling them bitches and whores and all these names. What is the benefit? You're still going to be in the same position. Just take the loss. Don't have nothing to do with them and go about your business. But the men act worse than the females do. I don't see females on social media running around and this bitch that and that hoe that and going off and cussing like these guys do. I don't see that. I wonder why. Is it because they are more mature maybe? But these same women will follow cats like this. Weak cats like Sanetta. Weak cats like Polite. Weak cats like Sarah Sunsetti. Weak cats like Farah Allah. All these men are weak. They don't have a pot to piss in. You can only suggest and you can only ask black women to support you when you support the women. When you build something for them. There's an old saying, if you build it, they shall come. So build the school. Build the shoe factory. The coat factory. The house. Give her employment. Do the things that you say a man's supposed to do. And she will come. There's no need to sit around talking about she's a ratchet and she needs to be accountable for her behavior. Especially when you're not holding yourself accountable for your behavior. You cannot clean nobody else's house until you clean your own house first, my friend. Clean your own house first. Here you are, you smoke more weed than she do. You drink more than she do. You commit more crime than she do. You murder more black people than she do. How the hell are you in a position to tell anybody anything? But we want to follow a fool like this. This man is a fool. A complete idiot. He's very entertaining. And some of the things that he said has credibility and validation. But he's still a fool. He's still an idiot. And it's just point blank. But that's the kind of people we like. We like people like him. And we like people like this. We follow them. And that's because we have a slave mentality. We have to follow and worship something. I don't understand that. What is wrong with y'all? Why y'all have this? It's in your DNA. It has to be in your DNA. You have to worship. You have to follow. Somebody has to be your massa. You don't want the white man to be your massa no more. But you got to find somebody. You got to submit to somebody. Serve somebody. Even if it's invisible. I can't see God, but I'm going to serve him. How are you going to serve something that you can't see? You just got to accept reality and think for yourself. Clean your own house before you're talking about what somebody else should do. Earn your respect. And I guarantee you, they will give you your respect. Because deep inside, the black woman loves her black man. And she will show you that very quickly when you get yourself right. But you're not right. She know that you're not right. You know that you're not right. But you want to be treated like you are right. And you're wrong. You're just as nasty and disgusting and dirty as she is. Peace. All right. Thank you for joining me. This is the Reality Step on Earth. And I am that mighty one, your soul brother number one, Angel Snub Nub 7. Well, I want to address an issue. And I want to direct this message to a certain group of persons. Not the whole group, just a certain group of persons within that group who are a bunch of idiots. Disrespectful, arrogant idiots. They claim to be followers of Minister Louis Farrakhan. And their behaviors, their behaviors really make Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam look really, really bad. Now, of course, many of you know that no matter what they say out of their mouths, they had some type of direct affiliation with the murder of Malcolm X. And for many of us who know the history, Malcolm is just one of the known persons who was murdered or assaulted by Nation of Islam members. The Nation of Islam has murdered other people. The Nation of Islam has assaulted other people. In fact, even my own personal self, I have been threatened on 2 occasions by Nation of Islam members. These are the same, this is the same group, these are the same people who claim, we love black people. Malcolm was a black people. I am a black people. They love you as long as you agree with what they're talking about. When you question, when you disagree with what they're talking about, then their mind turns from, I love black people, I need to kill this nigga. That's how they think. I'm not going to say all of them. I have relatives in the Nation of Islam. They don't think that way. In fact, many brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam, if you knew them, and I have known many, very sincere, dedicated, beautiful, intellectual type, loving type persons. And they would say the same about me. They wish that, of course, that I would be in the ranks with them, but I cannot do that. We evolve and we go our separate ways once we begin to mature. So these persons get very angry because they don't like some of the things I might say about Minister Farrakhan. First of all, I have the right to say whatever I want to say about Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam because I paid my dues. I started my journey in the Nation of Islam in 1981. Where were you? Where were you in 1982, 83, 84, 85, 86? Where were you in the 80s? You were nowhere around, period. In fact, my journey in the Nation of Islam started even before Minister Farrakhan. I was introduced to the teachings when I was 8, 9 years old, something like that. So by the time I actually joined Minister Farrakhan, I know the teachings. I know what you're taught. I know what goes on. I know how you think. You are taught that you have the supreme wisdom. And you really believe that until you meet somebody like me. And there are many people like me, and there are many people who can give your so-called supreme wisdom a run for his money. Now, when I was in the Nation of Islam, a lot of this information wasn't out. But now it's here. And you have a bunch of these people, because they believe they have the supreme wisdom, they get angry at those who can challenge it. You can't do nothing with me. And in fact, you don't even qualify to even talk to me about anything. Because you cannot represent and you don't qualify, and nobody made you a representative of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught by Louis Farrakhan. You don't qualify. You're not a minister. You're just a follower. You're a blind follower who listened to DVDs and Farrakhan inspired you to do this and that and that. You don't qualify. So you get angry when somebody messes up your world because you believe you have the supreme wisdom, and then you find out that your wisdom is not as supreme as you believe that it's supposed to be. So then, like I said, they turn to name calling. Can you believe this? Now, woo, you have a lot of audacity. You have a lot of nerve. You have people who are followers of Minister Farrakhan actually have the nerve to call somebody a coon and a sambo and a sellout and all this kind of stuff. A white man praiser or whatever. May I remind you, let us remind you of something. Who's the Scientologist? Y'all practice Scientology now. Where did that come from? It came from what? The white man. Ain't the white man the devil? Why would you practice Scientology coming from a white man and the white man is the devil? One of Minister Farrakhan's best friends is Father Flager. What is Father Flager? Some kind of Caucasian pink guy, a white man. What are you taught? You are taught, and it's very clear in the teachings, that the white man is what? The devil. He's not a Muslim. He's not trying to convert to be a Muslim. And even if he did, I believe the teachings is he has to be taught Islam for, what, 25 to 50 years before you can accept him as a brother. But Farrakhan said, this is my friend, Father Flager. But I'm the coon and the sambo. How is that possible? I mean, now, don't Minister Farrakhan, one of his sons is married to a white woman? Don't he have white grandchildren? Isn't this a fact? But I'm a coon and a sambo and a sellout? And I'm scared of the white man? And here you are, you have white folks in your house. You don't have no nerve. How can you even have the nerve to even begin to call somebody names? Now, back in the day, we were in New York City, and there was a bunch of Jews across the street. Minister Farrakhan came to Madison Square Garden, I believe. It was a bunch of Jews across the street talking about, who do we want? Farrakhan. How do you want him? Dead. Who do you want? Farrakhan. How do you want him? Dead. I was there, ready to go to war with these crackers. You gonna tell me I'm scared? Scared of what? I have not changed. I'm just not into your Islam stuff. I'm just not into that no more. And may I also remind you that your Master Farad Muhammad, his mama white. Daddy black, mama white. And he looks like a Caucasian guy. And this is who y'all pray to. But I'm the one who is obsessed and a coon and a sambo and obsessed with Caucasian people. Ah, come on. It's really a joke. You make Minister Farrakhan, matter of fact, Minister Farrakhan makes himself look bad. Because anybody with any kind of sense can clearly see, something is wrong here. You talk about the Caucasian people is devils, but your own son married a devil, a she-devil, and you embrace it. You don't reject it, you embrace it. And you come up with all these different excuses or whatever. And the people, because you can talk and articulate, you have blind followers, like y'all are blind followers. The man can do no wrong. There is nobody beyond critique. What's that word? Reproach? There's nobody. This man is not perfect. This man is just a man. Just like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Just a man. They urinate. They take a dump. They breathe air. They are just men. They make mistakes. They make errors. Divine or not. Even in your religious teaching. They are divine people, but they make mistakes. They are divine people, but they make mistakes. I said that. I said it one more time. Divine people make mistakes. And I want to say this also. because I don't really believe that y'all believe in your own teachings. You are taught in Islam, if you are going to argue, if you're going to debate, do it in the best of manners. So calling me a nigger, and that's what some of them have called me, a Sambo and a coon, and how is that debating? How is that arguing in the best of manner towards a person of whom you claim that you love? Because I am black. Malcolm X was a black man. And many of these people of whom you have assaulted were black. You have never, the Nation of Islam, I have no history and I don't know at no time where they attacked Caucasian racist people. The ones who murdered the racist police and probably some others that actually murdered black Muslims, they did not do nothing to them. But they became obsessed with Malcolm and had great hatred for Malcolm. Why is that? But you won't do nothing to your massa. Explain that to me. You don't qualify. I can smash your teachings. I know your teachings. You don't know where I'm coming from. You have no idea. I know your teachings. I know how you think. At one time, the Nation of Islam teachings was supreme. At one time, the Nation of Islam did have the supreme wisdom. Those days are gone. It's over. You try to rekindle a fire that's not going to be set ablaze. But slowly but surely, it's going out because the Nation of Islam should have stayed where it was at. It should have stayed destroyed, just like the rest of them. The Black Panthers, just like Marcus Garvey, just like Martin Luther King's organization. All those things need to be laid to rest. It's over. You are living in a time, new strategy, new ideas, new vision, new purpose, new goal, a new people, a new identity, everything new, because according to your religious teachings, it said that the God said, I am going to build a new heaven and a new earth. New, brand new. This does not mean that you will not use the old to make the new. You will use the old and recycle it so that you can bring forth that which is new. And the former things shall pass away. I'm not really worried about y'all at all, because your time is over and you will pass away. The Nation of Islam serves